Hello, Barcelona.
Hello.
So pleased that we are doing an interview about the meta conversation that you have with yourself about changing habits. The conference that we're doing is about habits, and I want to speak to Virginia. Virginia, I want to say your accent with a funny accent.
This is great. Thank you for this moment. Virginia, maybe it's from my country, Virginia, if you say in English, but it's fine anyway. And thank you very much for inviting me to talk about habits and how each of us, of course, can contribute about this issue that it's very important, and each of us, I guess, have things to say about that.
Yes, and we want to know what you have to say about habits in your life, in the lives of others that you work with, and how you really have to listen to yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about your story?
Definitely. I was thinking about this and about the post you make about discipline, that horrible word or things like that. And it makes sense because, first of all, I'm not going to say nothing like I am a specific person working on that or a studious person. It's about my experience and about what I saw in the different aspects, life, study, whatever. And the first thing is that habit is something that really don't come naturally. We have to get accustomed to that. It's something that sometimes is gonna really find to an edge that we say, okay, it's an acquired habit, but at the beginning we have to work on that. So the first thing I was thinking is like to make another narrative about these things. I mean, when I talk about new narratives and neurolinguistic thing, you know better than nobody about storytelling. And the thing is, which is the storytelling we are going to make to ourselves once we have or we want to make a change of habit.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
Yes, sorry, it was like our brain many times works about what we say to ourselves, as you just said. And sometimes I feel I am really rude with myself, but it's an habit as well.
Yeah.
Learn, and as in every learning process, I think we have to be really aware about it's called metacognition, but in the end, it's how I learn, what I need. And yeah, sorry, tell me.
No, sorry. I was interrupting you. I want to know more about how we learn, because I don't think I know so much about this. I just know like visual learner, auditory learner, the different like learning types in school. What are you referring to, how we learn? Do you have some more details on that?
Yes, definitely. Mainly it has to be with those general approaches. It's like, do I identify if I retain the habit, the information, which it's useful for me? If I listen, I mean, let's talk about learning a language. I don't know, something not so deep. And as people sometimes are more comfortable listening to music. Me, for example, I know that I have to repeat things until I fix in my mind because I'm so visual and kinesthetic. So if I write it and I saw it, then I will remember.
Okay.
Maybe it sounds complex, but it's not. It's just to reflect a little about what works for me. In the end, it has to be with that.
So you are referring to the visual auditory types of learning. It's the same concept.
Yes. I'm terribly and goodly visual. But sometimes I hear a song or things like that, but I can't remember that word that I don't know, and I would like to learn. I mean, that doesn't mean that you cannot use different resources. But for example, in the past, I used to work with a student with levels of special needs.
Mm-hmm.
I say levels because some of them just need to be explained in a different word.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's about learning. And that's about, for example, learning habits of study differently, because you don't just match with the style of your teacher and the normal school procedure, whatever.
Yeah.
So I would say that metacognition, it's good to have. And motivation. I mean, why I'm going to make this effort of getting a new habit. I would say if you have to change something because a health issue, or if it's just I want to learn something, but I have to change my daily routine. I don't know. It could be very wide, but in the end, it has to be in the way I decide to make a change. And humans do not like changes. We are lazy. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it, because the last guy I talked to, his whole thing was we shouldn't call people change managers, because what you're saying, nobody likes to be told what they need to change. Like, oh my goodness. And so if you are telling yourself that you must and you need to, the motivation is very low, because nobody responds well to should. In therapy, I'm a Gestalt therapist, we remove the word should, because it kills you. It's someone else's opinion of how something needs to be done. And so finding your motivation, changing the narrative around it so that you can find the motivation to keep doing it every day, sounds like a winning plan.
Yes, I think in the end it's like the idea, because I mean, we have to be aware as well that we are in a process, and it's always important to take time to think about the little, to celebrate the little things, and also to see it's like, am I doing the right path into getting this habit or not? Maybe not. I mean, I feel that it's not a big issue, and each of us has the skills to do this, but sometimes it's just to adjust to our real motivation. But it's not, I feel, maybe other people think different, but it's like what I should do to do this differently, because it's something new for you.
Yeah.
But it's important for me to have a romantic idea with yourself about you are deciding to do this change, to find that ally in your narrative about why am I doing this effort.
I love that. Find your ally, your helper in your narrative.
Yes, definitely.
In every story, I teach storytelling. And you can never, when you're telling a story to an audience, you can never be the hero of your story. It's like, I'm so great. I achieved this. No, it's like our team, my mentor, my grandma said something that I'll never forget. And so you saying that is interesting in my motivation to like learn Spanish, which I have almost zero. And that's why it doesn't happen. Why is it like that? Or losing weight, right? Why is it the same New Year's resolution every year, right? What story am I telling myself that doesn't change anything? It's the same old story. I need to lose weight because I want to look good and not carry around extra weight. I should do that. I should. I don't want to. So what do I want to do? So that story motivates me, and I don't have that. So it makes sense that I don't change.
Yes, definitely. By the way, I was wondering which habit do you like most, or would you like to have when you were learning Spanish? And I say, well, if I would think about this before, it would help me.
Yeah. Well, a good one, because you work with languages and I work with teaching English. The habit, you're reminding me that the habit of seeing the language is so important. I'm a visual learner.
Great.
And I learned most of my Spanish watching Netflix. not talking to my boyfriend who's Catalan in Barcelona, because I only hear him talk. I never see his words. And when I see it on the screen, I get it. And so now, just yesterday, I signed up for a new app where I can see the words and hear them at the same time. And that, I think that's really going to be a difference for me, because I forgot in all these years that that's really how I learned. And you talking about it today is a really coincidence. So like the habits that you like, that work for you, it's not like everybody learns the same way, right?
Or for example, it has to be in the way we express ourselves. I used to have students at my classes that they are not good at writing the traditional model of express or to get a test, but they know the thing and they need another means of expression. And for example, make a podcast. So, or another thing, I mean, I take the learning thing because it makes me a lot of echo about examples in which habits are good to be worked on. So maybe that the student know the thing, but if the only means to express was to write, it looks like he don't know. But if you get us as a teacher or every people, it's conscious about having new habits of expression, for example, people could reach another level of self-confidence. I feel that working on this in all the aspects we have in our life, not just in habits, maybe habits it's an excuse, that it would be great, because the way I learn, not just a habit, of course, that's the theme for today, but the way I learn may determine how I express and how I can show my interest or my concerns or not directly, I mean.
And so most of your work has been in language acquisition, and you studied NLP, neurolinguistic programming, because you wanted to understand better how people talk to them. Or tell me a little bit about your interest in this scientific kind of side of learning.
To be honest, I mean, I studied communication, and I have been working in the education field for so many years. So in the end, I work also with language acquisition, but also with knowledge acquisition, I would say, in general. So I would say that 3 years ago, I made a course about positive psychology.
Okay.
And I can see the impact of that in the whole human, I mean, not just for traditional learning. And when you told me about talking about this, I take my own notebook about that course and start taking contact with those things that are need to reinforce, but also to be positive. It's habit. It's a work that you have to decide and work on that every day. So if it's true that at the beginning, habit is something that at the end it's gonna be automatic, like driving or things like that, that your brain don't have to think on that. But I feel that getting new habits also have this other side about it's a habit you have to cultivate.
And you have to make this space. Yeah, it's just so much about motivation. There's a saying, well, an idea in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, when someone's an alcoholic, usually don't change until they lose their house, lose their job, lose their wife, and their kids aren't talking to them. Then they stop drinking, because just losing the wife wasn't enough. Losing the kids' attention wasn't enough. Losing the house wasn't enough. But, you know, it's like, are we humans so stubborn and lazy? Am I so stubborn and lazy that I'm like, well, why would I learn Spanish if I get a fine without it? You know, I'd have to have a really big goal where I need Spanish. Really, it's been 9 years, right? And I sound like I'm like year 1. I sound like I'm 8 and slow. But I just don't have the motivation because I don't need it. I don't want to go to the gym because I don't really need it to be happy. So I'd have to link, and people have to link their happiness to the habit and have a story around it and a vision to motivate them. I can't imagine any other way.
You make a perfect sum up, I guess, of all the things I mentioned. And also to be surrounded by people who help you maintain those habits, or at least don't put you apart. I mean, you cannot be in the life like, no, you are not with my habit, move. No, that's what I mean. But I think that it's important. We are not alone in this world, and it's important to be aware of to be near inspirational people.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I guess that's why a lot of us prefer to go to a class to learn a language, because when you add humor, socialness, laughter to something, it becomes more enjoyable. I'd rather do a Zumba class than exercise alone. Even if it was 10 minutes at home and I'd get the same benefits, I would rather do it with a bunch of people and waste 50 more minutes because it's social. So maybe that's also part of it. Extroverts should do what they hate with people. You know what, Virginia? I made a list. Now I remember. Tony Robbins, Mr. NLP. Yeah, he said make a list of the things that you like doing. Yeah, and what was the second column? What you like doing, and what you do alone or socially, like things that you need to shift. And so linking in my head something I don't want to do, and if I could do that with people, then it's more motivating. Or if people don't like dating, right? You can do group dating, like going on Tinder. What a horror, But if you can go to speed dating, or if you can go to hiking, sounds terrible, but hiking for singles, like if you can take what you don't like and add some joy to it, and you can do that in a practical way, right?
But what about changing the naming of that activities, even if it means the same? For example,
I love that.
It's not like hiking for singles. Could be like, I don't know, invite.
Yeah.
But
hiking
for taking flowers. I don't know. But in the end, everybody knows that it has to be with that, but it's not about singles. What I mean is how naming also determines. Yeah, thank you. The way to take or not things.
You're so right. I'd never thought of that. Well, branding people.
I'm really aware about that, but you know what? Just to put out prejudice, I say no. For example, I never imagined that I could surf, because surfing was not the kind of thing that was near my surroundings.
Yeah.
And I say, why not? So I find a group of girls that precisely promote this. I mean, to put aside all the prejudice and try it. But otherwise, I will never do that, because surf means a lot of social and things that I was not related up to now to my life.
Yeah.
But well, naming, I mean, it has a lot of things that determine, but maybe we can make the exercise to rename those things that sounds like horrible. For example, how could you say discipline? What about saying commitment with myself?
Beautiful. As we finish off here, that's a beautiful segue into, and because you speak English perfectly, you know what that word means. We're doing at our festival at the end of October in Barcelona, marry yourself ceremony, where you marry a part of yourself, like you commit to an aspect that you like about yourself. And so it's interesting to like name that part of yourself, even if you don't really love that part, but it's a part that you commit to, maybe like your impatience. But
Such a challenge.
What's that?
Such a challenge.
Such a challenge. That's why we're adding music and food and making it into a dance party. So yeah, so it's going to be a fun Saturday afternoon, evening event. Love it.
Do you identify any habits would you like to acquire, to develop? Something to think everybody.
No, I only have Well, I only have two. I have lots of things that are not so great about me, but the ones that I really struggle with, I already mentioned, which is not exercising enough and being too lazy to learn the grammar of Spanish. So that's why I'm running this conference to
You do great. Trust on you. Trust on all of us.
Yeah. I'm getting you guys to help me. And you help me. I really like this narrative, Virginia, and this finding this like ally in your narrative and renaming it. It's genius. Thank you.
Why not? Let's go for a coffee and we'll try to make something different with the grammar of Spanish.
Coffee and a donut while we're walking. Instead of calling it exercising, walking, you call it.
It could be great.
Conversation.
Great.
Gracias, huh?
Thank you. Gracias.
Okay. Adios, Virginia.
Adios.